Alrighty. Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Another fun-filled day. It's the middle of the week, what we call Happy to Hump Day. It's the hump of the week, right in the middle. Let's take a look and see what's going on. I saw Janos this morning. That was nice. There's Janos. The Geneva guy should look at it. Let's see. Ivan ain't around. Tell Jeff to just submit a proper complaint to support. Okay, excellent. I'll do that. Thank you. So you can see here, and let's get up on the chat line too. Let's get the dollar index. You can see that up on J4X. Let's take a look at it on our beta platform. Where's that at? Let's see. Dollar index. There it is. You can see it's still pushing up. Let's move that up a little bit higher like so. You see it's been in a daily buy for 5 full days now. Same thing over here on J4X. You can see with our Manhattan indicator here. You see 5 days of Hinky Ashki, and same basically probably with the fast stochastic. Let's see, what's that? That's the, let's go back, let's count them. So there's today, yesterday, day before, and day before. That's 5 days back. So that's at 38.19 on the fast. And 38.19 on the fast, and 32. Yep, jumped through. Put it into the buy right there. You can see it on the Manhattan indicator. So the pressure is on. It's moving up. Not a lot of pressure, just some pressure. It just seems like it doesn't stop. That's what it seems to. What it really comes down to is it just doesn't stop. We go a little zig and a zag, and right now there's 100%. On the Fed futures, predicting that there'll be a interest rate cut in July. 100%. Remember, this is a futures contract that they use to adjust short term. Hey, Robin, how you doing? Oh, I saw we got something from Lance. Was it? Cool. Thank you. Mountain West. Let's see your bottom. No, not that way. No. Let's see the Mountain West bottom, and let's take a look at it and see what's going on with it right here. Here we go. We'll switch over to that. And here we go. There it is right there. And let's put that up on the second page there. You can see that. There is the bottom right there, and we're still higher than where you thought it was bottoming. So that's what counts. It's higher. This was where Mountain West said it was going to bottom, and here we are. We're much higher up here now. You can see it. And you see we went into the daily buy about 4 days later, 3 days later, something like that. And it pretty much has been firm. The weekly is not breaking through yet, but the fast algorithm right here is lifting up. That's interesting. The fast algorithm is versus the slow. So we are seeing some interesting positive action going on there. Let's see, where else are we? So that shows that the strength is there. It seems like the calm before the storm. Actually, I think we're in the storm right now. I think we're in the middle of tax selling at this point. And so what will happen is that I think over the next week and a half or so, it'll get calmer. Maybe some pre-buying when it comes to the equity markets themselves, But I think we're in the middle of the action at this point. I really do. Let's lower this volume here. Okay, there you go. And so that's what we're seeing right now. Is we're seeing the tax selling, and it seems like, as we identified yesterday, it seems like the 5 central banks across the planet stepped up and started buying equities. Putting money into the equity market, about $350 billion over the month of November. So, it shows you what they're protecting. They're protecting that end of a year mark to market. That's what they're protecting. That's what window dressing is all about, to protect the gains on paper so that they can look around and say, look at this, we gained money. It was all good. Let's see. Yeah, I was 2 days early. It's all right. I think U.S. dollar is heading for another top. More than likely, they do it all the time. They go tops, bottoms, tops, bottoms. It depends on the length of it, And in this case here, we're still in the weekly sell. So this is what we call a dead cat bounce. Dead cat bounce. And you can see the daily picked up on it, but it's not really storming, the 107 area or something like that. It's not going to go after that high. I don't see any particular reason, especially with the Fed Fund futures predicting 100% chance of a cut in July, and something like I think last I looked at it, it was like 53% in May, and a little under 40%. It was like 37 or 36% or 38% in March. I don't think that's going to happen at all. So, but we'll see. We'll let it. It plays itself out. We follow our math. Our math is usually ahead of the curve, so I'm not complaining about that. Let's see. What else can we say about the dollar itself and how we're looking at it? You can see on the well, first of all, you see on the old platform right there how it's acting. And you got what do you have here? You have the fast trying to lift up, but it's not the strongest thing. It's still not through the zero line. So, it could basically bang against the zero line here and then roll over again. And that would be the top you're talking about. And then they just I would expect to see a trade like this, play anywhere between the 99. I really think it's going to be in a range like 99 or 98, something like that, to, I don't know, like 103, 105, something like 104 area like this, Let's see if we can contract this a little bit more. Let's see if we can do here. I really do. I think we're going to be stuck in a little range there because we have the election year coming up. And you can see where it found its bottom here. And it's right there now. And you can see that resistance area here. So, with the election, we're 6 weeks away from the first primary. There's a caucus in Iowa in about 6 weeks, right at the end of, or at the middle of January, basically. 6 weeks towards the end of January. And then you have South Carolina and you have New Hampshire. So all of a sudden, what if all of a sudden they stop voting for Biden? We know they're going to vote for Trump. There's no doubt about that. But what about the other way around? What if Biden starts to disappear altogether? In other words, all of a sudden, a cartoon creature becomes more popular. Like people vote for Mickey Mouse before they'll vote for Joe Biden. That's not that far-fetched. So, we have to see the real horse race is not on the Republican side. We already know that, Mr. Trump is going to be the nominee. But we don't know about the Democrat side. And he actually said that last night, too. He's been preparing for 3 or 4 candidates. He's convinced that he doesn't think Joe's going to make it to the finish line. So, that's where the markets might go, what? Let's see. Wes says, I think U.S. dollar is heading for another time. Right. I read that already. Okay, good. Just making sure I'm not missing anything on the chat line. So that's where the horse race really starts. It's not on the Republican side. It's on the Democrat side. And Newsom, what we thought was going to be, a great potential for being a good candidate, really blew it. About a week and a half ago, he did a 2-hour debate or something like that on one of the national news organizations, and he fell apart against the governor of Florida. Everybody thought he was going to make the governor of Florida look stupid, and he was going to dominate the whole thing. And everybody was like, "Wow, this is like a prelude to the backup presidential candidate for the Democrats." And he blew it. He just fell apart. So, DeSantis from Florida walked all over him like like a just like what do they say, like white on rice. I mean, just fell apart. Do I see what the dollar heading for another top? As I said, they go up and down. That's the whole idea of the marketplace. This could be, I guess, if you're asking me that, this could be the A, this could be a B, and then another C, and maybe they'll challenge these lows here, the 101s and change, and maybe, can it come down to this area there? Chances are, markets like to anticipate future events. So the dollar weakening is only representing the drop of interest rates. That's all. It's an adjustment of interest rates combined with inflation. Is that what you mean on the top thing? So, all right. So from there, let's drift our way over to the first currency today. And remember, traders, if anybody sees something they would like to look at, we can stop, take a look at what the math says, and then go on again. We're very happy to jump around. So let's go to the beta. We're going to throw the euro future on there. We're waiting to start using data from Dukascopy. And let's put it up on J4X, the euro against the dollar. There it is right there. Yeah, look at that. It's been sliding down. A lot more. I'm a little, if anything's surprising me, is basically the weakness in the euro. That's the one that's got me a little surprised. Oh, I guess the previous comment never made it to your computer. What's that? I think the U.S. dollar is heading for another top. Is that the question you're asking? Or the calm before the storm? Just put the question up again and I'll answer it. That's no problem. Let me see. Where am I at? Oh, yes, euro. A little surprise there. A little surprise. And what was interesting is how the cable's been much firmer. They're reaching for the cable and buying cable, and selling dollars. And they're basically not buying euros as much and selling dollars. That's a surprise to me. So. And look how much it's down, too. It's down to 1377 on the slow, and the fast is at, what's that, 806 or something like that. So, we're not seeing a lot of strength there. So yeah, I just have to find out what the previous comment was, and that will answer all the questions. So yeah, that's let's put it up. Oh, here we don't have it up on J4X on that beta. There's beta. You can see that. There's that move down, and we've been 5 days now in a sell. And the week, look at that. The weekly last week really got low. Very surprising. Maybe it'll do another one of these turns back up. You can see it's trying to lift here on the weekly, but and then when we go and look at it over here. Let's put it up on there. There we are. There we go. And there's the euro. You can see the euro is doing that same thing on all our platforms. All 3 platforms we're looking at. Let's see. What do we got here? There we go. So, what we're looking for, what we're really looking for is we're looking for the way the euro is rolling over. We're wondering, what is that all about? Could be tax. Again, this, we're at the end of the year. A lot of trading is not necessarily like, anything more than that. I mean, that's exactly what it is. And let's go and check it out. Let's see. Let's put it up on here with the cable. So we'll go to cable. Where is it at? Let's put the cable up here, because we've seen what the euro's doing. So I mean, it may be that that there is more gains in the year, or and people are trying to take tax profits. That's why I always say taxes are evil. They really force lots of different economic decisions in our economy, and they don't always represent, as like Giannis was talking about, fundamentals and values, and just makes it a sloppier marketplace in many ways. That's why I like to try to remind everybody. Like here, you can see it's not making any major challenge down. It's a third day. It's really a second day in a sell going nowhere. You can see it right there. And let's see if we can get it up on the beta. See if the beta is, the beta futures is okay. Can't wait to get the data feed from them. It'll be interesting. So, yeah, I mean, that's really the answer to a lot of this, is that now we're going into tax. We've been in tax selling. Usually it happens in November and going into early December, and then it stops. So that's the nature of it all, really, is that tax selling situation. All right. So now let's go take a look at. Let's see. Mountain. Let's see. So previous comments already. I'm checking mountain stuff. I guess the computer didn't. Guess the computer glitch. You can see the green line on the weekly on the dollar started drifting down before the Mountain West top. Oh, okay. Let's go back to that. And let's go like this. Let me go put that back up there. My mouse is being pain in the neck. There we are. There it is. I want to be able to see the chat line at the same time. Come on. Oh, there it is. Chat line's right down below. All right, good. Now let's go back to the dollar index. Right there. Well, you can see on the weekly, the green line started to back off all the way back in here. But it was still in a buy. But it was telling you that the direction up was slowing. And then it broke the manifold right here. That really starts to warn you. Notice it gets more violent. It gets much more violent there. And then you see when the weekly breaks down like that, it really starts to get violent. Now the fast was kind of lackadaisical about it too. Didn't break down. It broke down with it at the same time. That green line there. On the daily, let's widen that out so you can see it all. And then on the daily, yeah, I mean we were drifting in and out. We go into a buy here. It's then goes pushed. Well, that was interesting. That big day there, that real push down. We'd gone into a sell, and then it lifted again for a couple days, and then started to spike, and then breaking down again as we were in that weekly sell at the same time. So it was really hard to want to be long in this. And then when they slammed it, you knew that we were not in good territory. You didn't want to take any of the buys. You just didn't want to be too short at that point. And so then we went into another sell. Let's grab this sell right there. And we went into a sell right there. And that was after a monster move down. But we were in the weekly. So one thing for sure, we didn't catch all this on, winning it, but we didn't lose because we knew not to be long. That's why we were telling Benny yesterday, don't how did I say it to him? What we say to Benny? We said, there are three positions. There are three positions in trading, and that is like long, short, and and neutral. So yeah, I see what you're saying about the line. I see line on a weekly on the U.S. dollar started drifting down weeks before. Yeah, and that's usually the way it works. It starts to give you warnings, and when it breaks through the manifold, let me tighten it up again, since that's exactly what you're identifying. When it starts to break down through the mirror image manifold, that's a standard deviation mixed with our math. That's what that manifold. Let's get the mouse better there. That's what that is. So this is the manifold here. When you start to see it start to break that right there, then you know something really is starting to happen. That's it's going to change direction. It's heading down. And you can see there was a real fight. They wanted to hold on to this. I think that was part of the not belief that they're going to stop. Remember, Mr. Powell has not exactly walked out and said, "Hey, guess what? I'm not raising rates anymore." Instead, he keeps on, double talking. Matter of fact, I think we talked about it on Monday, where the market is basically telling the Fed, we don't believe you. My first sip of the tea at 21 minutes in. Yeah, see, that's what it really comes down to. So the bond traders, and we showed you on Monday, we were looking at the 30-year, the most popular of the interest rates. Let's go back to that. Because it does play into all currency pairs. When you're looking at currency pairs, it does play into it, you know. So that's the magic of it all, I guess you could say. And so, you know, in all honesty, it makes it very, very tough to put up with it. You know, I guess that's the best way to describe it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. And you can see, look at all this congestion in here, too. You know, we were trending better, and then all of a sudden we get to the top, and it starts to become choppy. That's because there's a lot of money. Let's put the bond up there. There's a lot of money that's convinced that, you know, that they don't think that the markets are going to, you know, they were going to raise rates. They are still fighting the inflation. You know, as we said yesterday. Inflation hasn't stopped going up. It's just going up slower. Mr. Biden likes to say that it's going down now, but it's not. Inflation is at around 4%. So it's come down from almost 10%, but it's gone up from 1.41%. So when he took office, it was at 1.41. So, you know, the markets are saying you've slowed the economy. Some economists are claiming we may be in recession as we speak, you know, right now even. And so, you know, there's a lot of hard, adjustments to this. Now you can see the last 10 days. You see that right there. As this rises, it means that interest rates are dropping. And we were talking about the 118, 19-ish area, like 118, 20, something like that. I don't know. We talked about that last week. Ever since we've gone into the weekly buy down at 113, I thought we could see the 118 again. Almost 119 I was talking. So you can see it here. I'm thinking that they're going to stall out in this area here and wait right here. So in other words, what they're doing is they're showing you already that they believe that July they will start cutting rates. That's what they're saying. And that's how that plays out. All right. So from there, let's see. Let's go like this and like that. So I guess that's the answer. Oh, here we go. Mountain West says that that would be a prime example of divergence. Yeah, I guess so. And the Bank of Canada rate decision in 2 hours. Ooh, that could be fun. Yeah, exactly. Now that all makes sense to me. That all makes sense to me. So that's where we're really at the moment. We are trying to, you know, get on track, I guess you could say. Bond vigilantes are going to be bond vigilantes. They're going to do what they do. You know, I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. So, let's see. Okay. So, let's come up with the next thing, and that is we were looking at cable. Don't we have cable up there? Yeah, we have cable up there. So let's get over to the cable, and we saw that. The cable's not really... We're not really seeing that action in the cable for whatever reason. Guess they, you know, in many ways they took it on the chin. You know, in other words, they got beat up a while back, you know, and so maybe they're all done. Whereas the euro, you know, the euro is the second world reserve currency. People don't talk about it that way because China keeps on pushing, you know, their agenda. But the you know, pretty much what it really comes down to is now is that, you know, it has been that way for a long time. That's why it was created. The euro is the second world reserve currency. And so, you know, there's a lot of in and out going on because people, you know, are looking for that action, you know. And that's where we are. So let's see, what else can we say about that? I guess that's it. That is pretty much the fact. And so what we have now is we have this situation where you know, it's not letting go either. You know, it's just going to keep on pressing and pressing and pressing. All right. Let's see, what else can we say? I guess time to jump to the other product. Alrighty. And let's see. Let's move this over like so. There we are. And let's see if there's anything on the chat line. Nothing on the chat line. Good. All right, let's go to the Swiss. I was a little surprised. I think the Swiss jumped into a buy last night. Or maybe not. Maybe it did not. Yeah, it did. It jumped into the buy last night right there. But it's not really going anywhere. And you can see this weekly very weak. You can see that the overall trend seems to be more down than up. You can see the fast is trying to bounce up a little bit from that nice little bounce there. But overall, it's not really going anywhere. Let's put it up on J4X. There's dollar Swiss. You got two greens there too at the same time, and you're up to 62 on the fast, 43 on the slow. So there's pressure on, it's moving on the upside. And then we don't show you the beta because it's an inverse relationship with the futures contract. So it makes it a lot more sloppier and makes it harder to appreciate, And let's see, what else can we say about that? And then we go to where do we go? We take a look at where is it at? Let's go to the Japanese yen. Boy, LDP in Japan, that's the political party, having more noise. We've been seeing that. Maybe a lot of that weakness that we saw with the yen. Let's put it up on J4X too. Maybe a lot of that noise. Maybe literally that's part of the issue. That could literally be part of the issue. Why they're having problems. It is very confusing in many ways. Why we've seen this going on like that. They lost a finance minister. Then they put in a new head of the Bank of Japan, and now today they were warning them about spending. They have a slush fund. I don't know what they call it. It's like political donations, and they take and party at the end of the year. I don't know, something like that. It's like supposedly they take a vacation, and everybody in their Congress or the Parliament or whatever goes and parties out at the end of the year, and so that's pressure on that currency right now. And it's like it's not, it just doesn't go away. That's the problem, is that none of this stuff seems to go away. You got the same goofiness going on constantly. So we've seen that currency gone from 110, 115 up to 151, 152 to a 45-year high. Okay? And by seeing that type of action tells us that, we already know that, their stock market is, it was up 2% today too. Let's see if we can get that on the beta, because we can see our math and that on the beta. But the Nikkei was up 2% today, and they are moving slow and steadily. Remember, they haven't taken out their all-time high since 1993. Okay, there's the Nikkei. It's at 33, almost 33. What is that? That's like 33.5. 33,500. That's the Nikkei. Let's show it to you. And let's put it right there. And so you can see it's been in a sell more than a buy, and it's been pressing down, and they spiked it today. You can see the weekly is trying to roll over into the sell. Catching this whole, it's been in a weekly buy since like, what is that? Early October, mid-October, something like that. Back in here, it's been in a buy, and so it climbed from, what is that? That's the 6th, I guess, right here. It went into the weekly buy in here on the 20th, right around here. It went into a buy, weekly buy, and so you can see it's climbed from it. But we're not understanding all the dilemma that's going on there. There's a lot of dilemma going on there in Japan. And that has been somewhat of the whole issue to begin with. So we kind of try to understand. We're looking at a country and a currency that has been trapped since 1993, and they're at 45-year highs now. So in the currency, but we have not taken out the 1993 high of 39,000. So, all right, from there, and let me go to the chat line to make sure nobody's asking any questions. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Bank of Canada. Okay, Nikki Haley is gaining momentum. No, not at all. No, matter of fact, there's talk that there's a group that wants to put her on as a third-party candidate at this point. What do you mean it's in inverse relationship with the futures contract? Oh, the yen. Here, I'll show you. So we have Swiss up on J4X right now. I'll show you what the futures contract does. So that's 6. Here, there it is. So we look I always look at the markets like as if I live outside the United States. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Here, I gotta do it right here. There it is. There we are. What's up with this? There we are. Okay, let's try this again. There it is. So there's Swiss, all right? And see how it's rising? See how it rises? It's because it's not dollar Swiss, the futures contract. It's Swiss dollar. Whereas British pound is pound dollar and euro is euro dollar. Swiss is Swiss dollar in the United States. But everybody else in the world watches it the other way around. It's dollar Swiss. So when it's gaining dollar Swiss, it's going down against the dollar. And when you're in the futures contract, when the Swiss is gaining, it's going up. Just makes it easier. I always say we follow the markets Eurocentrically. That's what I usually say. That's really what it comes down to. So, alrighty, ready. So from there, let's see what else can we say about any of this. So that's what we're watching at the moment. We're watching that action. So, where did we at? We were at the yen. Let's go back to the yen on dollar yen. So you can see this has been moving down, gaining against the dollar, whereas our futures contract, when we look at the yen, is rising. There it is. And see, it's rising, it's gaining. The yen is gaining against the dollar, and the number increment is totally different. See it over here? Totally different. It's like it's a 0.066. Where's it at now? It's at 0.0068. That's where it's at. That's where the contract. Whereas over here, it's at 147.25. So it's 147.25, and it's just inverse. That's what I mean by it's inverse. Alrighty, so let's go to the great experiment. That's what we do now. We'll go over to the Turkish lira. See what the Turkish lira is up to. Let's see. Let's put it up on J4X. There it is, right there. So we're at 31.22. It's been topping out a little bit here for the last 3 or 4 days or 5 days, something like that. We'll put it up over here. And someone spiked the poor thing in the United States, so you can see the spikes in it. Thing that has issues, that's for sure. And so there it is right there. You see that action. It's spiked down. And so you see how it's pressuring itself. And you can see here, the weekly. There's the weekly. And so the weekly is kind of stalling out like that. It's trying to break the manifold as we speak. There it is right there. And you see the fastest trying to break down. We've been in a weekly buy since mid-September. And the thing has moved from the 28, 29 area up to the 30. Now we got a goofy spike of 33 there finally. We've been talking about that 33 area. And, these were all closing highs, all-time closing highs 5 days ago. This thing has been finding ways to make newer highs. And so that makes it even more of a challenge in understanding the whole nature of it all. Let's see. Nothing on the chat line. So we'll go over to, the number one brick in the world now. And that is the South African rand. All right, let's see, where's it at? There it is, right there. South African rand has that going in the opposite direction. Normally, it gold and it are matched 1 to 1 perfectly. I mean, really good. Not compared to Canadian dollar and energy, but it's kind of broken down a little bit, and we can put it up on J4X here. Let's see. Matter of fact, we need to fix that too. We have, which gold do we have up there? What we really need to do is GC. We need to change that because that's the December gold. And you can see it's just kind of hesitating. It's made that big drop. That was one of the stranger pops, that's for sure. There it is, right there. You can see it's stalled out. The South African rand is lifting, as you see on J4X here, and at the same time, you see that the last 2 days gold has stopped. They spiked it, and in many ways, we were talking about that. China was one of the major central banks pouring money into the equity markets. They may have been pouring money into the gold market too. That's why it's been moving in the opposite direction of the South African rand. So in other words, they're trying to paint the tape. And I think I labeled that. That was the title I put on there yesterday, was that they're trying to paint the tape. That's what it looks like to me. So in other words, they want these things to show that that they're gaining money. That's really what it comes down to. And so that's like what we'll be watching. And we have about another week and a half of painting the tape or marking the market, or whatever you want to call it. There's all kinds of Wall Street names for it. It's all the same thing. What they try to do is they try to keep the prices up so that they can get that value at the end of the year for tax reasons, or maybe they have investors in these countries that they don't want the weakness. Maybe they want the funds themselves. The mutual funds and the equity funds, they want to bring in more investors. And the only way to do it is show that they're gaining money. So, that's, it's hard to believe, but ever since quantitative easing, that is what it's all about nowadays, is that the central banks are involved in day-to-day action in the marketplace. It could be as simple as they have loans with private banks, and they need them to show a certain amount of equity, and if they don't show that certain amount of equity, they get in trouble. There's penalties, and so the central banks do not want the penalties. It could be as simple as that, which is really amazing. I think that blows my mind all the time. So, okay, from there, where do we go from there? We go to I know what it is. We look at all the metals. Excuse me. So let's go to the metals. So that's gold. I want to save that. Where's the gold? Right there. I just want to save that fresh one. Then let's go over to silver. Silver doing the same thing. Look, that crazy spike, and it's a little bit weaker. And again, we talked about this yesterday, how the silver contract can't get out of its own way. It literally cannot. Robin and I how can it be 50% off its all-time highs when gold is sitting on the edge of all-time highs constantly? Why do they hate silver? I think what they're doing is they're buying gold and selling silver. I think they do the pairs trade. I think that's what it really all comes down to in the end. And so then from the silver, we go to copper. Now, copper, same odd situation. They spiked it last Monday. I guess it was got spiked and then got clocked. So it was Sunday night. They all spiked up and fell apart at the same time. And they're all in weekly buys, but you can see here the dailies are getting the pressure there. And we can go look at the two weeklies. We didn't even talk about the weeklies in the other products. So let's take a quick look again at the weeklies, because I was just saving data there. And there is the silver. You can see it's very high up, not even busting the manifold. It doesn't really care. See that? It doesn't care. So there's hope for the metals traders. Same thing with the gold. Gold, even the fast and the slow are above the manifold. So as much as there's some weakness, it's not a lot of weakness. Last time we had weakness was where the fast broke down here, as you can see. And, it broke through the manifold, came down. You can see the weakness out of it. And then it found a way to turn back up, but never went into the weekly sell because we go on the slow. We follow the slow. Now, when I'm trading options on this thing, I'll pay attention to that, and I might sell call spreads when it's breaking down like this, how fast and strong it was over the 3-week period. But not trade the cold, the hard delta itself. All right, and then we go over to we look at what's the next one? Platinum. There's the platinum, and again, platinum, used to be over gold in price. Now it cannot even get halfway. It's 50% underneath. 50%. It'd be one thing if they were trading at parity or something like that. The bigger question is, how can you keep on shorting something like that that's 50% cheaper than gold? You really don't want to get trapped into the day they realize that, let's put it this way, quantitative easing and central banks controlling the markets day in and day out, sooner or later, there are going to be some people that stop that action. I mean, it's not the most legitimate action, and that's the problem has been quantitative easing should have ended in 2010. It was there just to stabilize the market, not become some type of socialist dream of government intervention. And that's the platinum. So that's what we're seeing here with the metals complex. All right. Any other questions in the metals arena? If not, we're going to go over to the Canadian dollar, and we'll take a peek at that and see if what's going on there. And that's that is really the action itself. Let's see. Yeah, that is the action. That's the story. Okay, so let's put the Canadian dollar up on J4X right there. Dollar CAD. You can see it's been going down generally, which means usually oil goes up in value. But when we go over here, let's put Brent up on the beta, so we can see our math with it. Is that it? That could be the Brent. Yeah, that looks like Brent right there. So there's Brent. You can see it's been in that weekly sell for a while. And at the same time, let's just throw it up on J4X just to compare it. Yeah, 76. Okay, good. So there is right there. And, you can see we're in a daily sell for 4 days. We just showed you that weekly. Where's that weekly again? And you can see overall it's been in a weekly sell since the end of October. End of October? Yeah, I guess so. We're in December now. So we've been in a weekly sell since back up in this area. We went into, I guess it's like right there. We went into the weekly sell. Right there. That's not fun. Let's see if we can come up with a better one than that. Let's just go back arrow. That'll straighten it out. So, let's go front forward arrow to get back to Brent. There's the Brent. So the action in the oils, Canadian has been gaining against the dollar, and we've been seeing the oil contracts all going down at the same time, which is kind of odd and rare. It's not normal. But again, they have so many issues going on in Canada at this point that it's a minority government. It's really upside down. And so at this point, there's a lot of frustration. What do we got here? Private sector jobs. Oh, is that the ADP? Was down 103. What did it do to the stock market? Let's see what they did with the stock market on it. They lifted it up. So the S&P futures, let's show you there. The S&P futures were trading down at about 480, and now they're trading at 486. They made a little pop out of it. Is that right? I guess so. Yeah. 82, I guess. That must have been the ADP number. And let's see what else we got going on here. That's pretty much the name of the game there. So ADP, this must be the ADP numbers. Private sector jobs, net, yeah. Interesting. Down, what is that? 103,000. Okay. Why does it say plus though? It must be 103,000, but the anticipation was lower, maybe. Previously it was 113. That's why. Okay. So and expected was 128. So it was 25,000 jobs less. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So from there, we start. We look at. Let's do this. We'll go and look at West Texas Intermediate, right there. Oh, here's the ADP. Yeah. The bonds broke a little bit from it. Yeah. So it was 103, as Dukascopy said, and it was off by about 27,000 jobs. So you can see here oil moving down, the Jan contract there, and that's the pressure. And we're not seeing it match up with the Canadian dollar whatsoever. There we are. And then at the same time, we go and take a look at natural gas, and there's natural gas, which is kind of bottomed, I guess, or flattened, and it's trying to get it going. You got a green and a red. This is the January contract, and we've been in a weekly sell there for a bunch of weeks. Let me just check the chat line again. Let's see. Let's see. Bank of Rate decision. Nikki Haley, we answered that. And so, Mountain West said more than that. What do you mean by inverse relationship with the futures contract? Stock futures? Well, the stock futures. I'm not sure we were asking about stock futures, but no, they've been. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. We've seen where the bounce. They bounced the intraday here. It's what is it up? It's up 9 full points. Let's take a look at the daily on that. That'll help you out a little bit. We went into a sell there yesterday, I believe. Yeah, we went into the sell yesterday. It's a little bit higher, 9 points up, almost. Where's that? 950 up, and the weekly's still in a weekly buy. So it's it's hard to be too paranoid. And again, we got stock sell. Was it? We have not stop loss. Was it tax selling? We got tax selling going on right now. So, we're only, 3 weeks away from the end of the year. They got to get this stuff done. Usually they start in November, and this November, like we said, the central banks came in with a roar. All right, from the natural gas, did we do natural gas? There's the natural gas right there, yeah. So, we're paying basically $2 and basically 75 cents for natural gas here in the States. And then what we do is we try to understand the price in Europe, and that's why we use the beta for that. We go in, you can see right here, this is the, it's at 28 now. I know that you're going through an enormous beginning of the end of the fall, going into the winter. I understand it's like, breaking records temperature-wise, because we're, Doc is on the side that we believe we're going into an ice age, and some of the politicians actually think we're going into global warming, and so it turns it into a very confusing situation, an extremely confusing situation. So that's where we're at the moment on that. What else can we say about any of this besides it being confusing? Indeed. All right, so from there, we go over to, we've done all of them, natural gas and all like that. And you can see here, we have and let's put this up on J4X too. This is the energy company down in Spain that we follow. It's a stock. And its a value, the stock value seems to mirror the oil market. So it's trading at like 28.12. It hasn't been that high. Let's show the whole screen of it like that. It hasn't been that high since September. Matter of fact, it's breaking the September highs, going after the July highs, and you can see it was up there for a long while. And we've seen it as high as like 30 right there. So we're going after highs in here. This thing is not, it went down to 22 in October of last year at the end of the summer, and then just started to climb for the winter. And you can see that the low is nowhere near down to 22 at this point. So there's obviously major pressure for the cost of natural gas. But one of the things we saw, which was very confusing, is that natural gas, 20% of the natural gas bought from Russia is being re-exported. So I don't understand that. That really, I guess maybe they're exporting it to countries that are in desperate shape, that's linked to the European Union. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I never understand that whole thing there. All right. Anyhow, let's zip the doodah over to. If anybody has a question about anything, let us know. But at this point, we don't see any questions on anything particular. So we're going to go take a look at. Oh, here's one. Natural gas. Yeah, Giannis, see that? Natural gas, that Spanish company is over $28 now. So they're really putting pressure on it. But you know what I heard, Giannis, which was really weird, is that I'd like to hear your opinion. I understand that the European Union exports 20% of the oil, the natural gas. They export it that they get from Russia. What's that all about? Is that what it is? Austria? Okay. But I saw they had an article. I saw that on Monday. I showed it on the webinar that 20% of European natural gas is exported from Russia. I mean, in other words, they buy it from Russia and then they turn around and sell it around the world. So Austria is a door, and so they buy it and sell it to the European Union and keep the prices high. Now, what is that? What's the last you've seen on natural gas in Europe? Is it $28 a cubic at this point? Is it matching up to that energy company in Spain? Africa, huh? Interesting. Yeah, that's a surprise to me. And I will tell Jeff to complain to Stukoscopy. What kind? How does he phrase the complaint about Ivan ain't around? Tell them Ivan isn't around, and in the complaint, and so he's trying to connect up to who? To link the API. Iceland too and Norway. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Alrighty. So. What's the next thing? What is the next thing we do? I guess we're done for the day. I think that's what it comes down to. Let's see. If something is not working, let's see. Let me copy this. Let's see. Let's try it again. So if something's not working with data feeds, just send an email to that. I see. And let's see if we go like that, and then it is needed to open official inquiry ticket. Okay, and they have to fix it and or reply properly. Being friends around here seems to not be the best way to get stuff done. I see. Okay. All right. I will send that over to him. There we are. Let me do that real quick while we have that here. All right, and we'll go like that, and I've just copied that, and I'll send it to him. There we are. Data feed, send the email. It is right. Okay. All right, perfect. I will do that. What else is there to be said? Okay. All right, I guess we're out of here then. So this is Doc from North America. We'll catch you all tomorrow, same time, same channel. And happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders.